coming back with Poor People's Revolutionary Radio. That's Poor People's Liberation Radio, PNN, not CNN. So I'm here with my sister Shiro, struggling like all of us poor folks do while these scam lords be scamming. So part 3 of Scamlord Watch, which is an ongoing, sadly, segment of us poor tenants. So far we've been hearing from our sister Sharina, dealing with her scam lord. We heard from Auntie Frances dealing with that scam lord, flipping the house. And now one of the powerful sisters in poor, because that's how we is, we all poor folks dealing with this stuff firsthand. We ain't poverty pimps or institutions or saviors. This is our life. So co-founder of Homefulness and a powerful poet for the Poets Project of Poor Magazine and a welfare queen, Sister Vivi T.
How you doing out there, everybody? This is Vivi T in the house on the scene with Poor Magazine, welfare queen, super baby mama, and all the time it's some kind of gentrifier trauma. Anyway, I want to just say today I'm here as a casualty of what is gentrification in our communities. Gentrifiers and liars, speculators and developers and people like that in our community, making it literally impossible for us folks who've been living out here our whole lives and, been a part of this community to remain as a community. I just want to say, I came through this situation as a houseless mama with my kids in Oakland for 4 years, living in a storefront, and had to fight Oakland Housing Authority because they lost our paperwork when we was trying to get public housing out in Deep East Oakland, which we ended up getting a whole year and a half later after my kid got lead poisoning and stuff. Lived out of Deep East Oakland in public housing for 5.5 years, and then moved to another public housing in Berkeley for 7.5 years. And then the RAD program came through Berkeley and decided to privatize public housing and HUD housing and wanted to put us in a motel for a year. At that point, a family member of mine was moving out of their duplex in Oakland, and it had affordable rent. So I took the opportunity to not end up in a motel for a year and living under the HUD guillotine day by day and all the strict rules and all the uncertainty and the fact that the Berkeley Housing Authority was saying, HUD is going to be done with, 20-year contract is up. And with all that produced a lot of anxiety. And what people need to understand is folks that have been houseless with their families, they suffer with a lot of anxiety when they go through stuff like this. It is very real. It's very traumatic. And it really impacts not only the mamas and daddies, but the babies too. So I just want to say, after that situation, what had happened was we ended up moving into the duplex in West Oakland, and it had an affordable price on it. I had me a little job doing homeless outreach in Berkeley, and I was able to sustain for about nearly 5 years at that place. And 2016, my mom and my brother died 6 months apart, and I had to go off work for a year. It was a very devastating year. By December of 2016, I get a call from the landlord saying that she's got some serious health problems and she's going to do a quick sale on the property. As you can imagine, for families like mine and for myself, and not having a lot of support systems underneath us in these communities, because that's how the system is set up, I ended up having to make plans to move. And, I got some move out money and everything, and I felt, wow, I'm on top of the world with all this money, and, it's all good, but the cost of living is so high out here. And moving and adjusting and getting on track. What I was finding is the money I got from the move out was just chipping away rapidly because the cost of living when I had to move out and go into market rate renting was enormous. So I rented this house from a corporation called Wayfair, also now known as Invitation Homes. One of those lock and key places where nobody never meets you there, and they just give you a code and you walk through and you make a checklist, and I checked out. The property looked cute, but there were a lot of little problems with the property internally, like the plumbing and just a lot of little flaws. I noted all that. It had a massive beehive in the wall. I got stung in my face. Mutialo, you was there. We was all getting stung when we were trying to move my stuff in the house. And the tree in the backyard fell, and it was just crazy. So come the winter time in 2017, and this is the same time I moved out. I moved out of the other property, Wood Street in West Oakland, in June of 2017. And then when November 2017 came in the East Oakland Holly Street Imitation Home spot, what happened was all of a sudden the place started to smell really bad. It smelled like a porta potty, and we started to have asthma. We didn't feel good. I was having rashes. I was itching. I had all this yellow like discharge around my eyes, my ears. I noticed that when I wiped the furniture, it was like this brown mustard discharge, weird stains coming off the stuff. And I told the plumber, I said, something's wrong. It smells like kind of toilety and sewage. And so basically what happened was their plumber came out and he tore a hole in the wall and he found there was gallons, and I kid you not when I say years and years and gallons of human waste underneath the house. It was permeating through the garage floor. It was permeating up through the whole structure of the house. The bottom line of it is that we became poisoned with hydrogen sulfide gas poisoning. We didn't even know what was happening to us, and never in my life did I ever experience something so horrific that would impact my health. And on top of it, I got an autoimmune condition, and I'm battling with that constantly. And this just was the worst thing that could have ever happened. My kids both couldn't breathe in the house, and we had to literally evacuate on November 20th, 2017. Folks in the community let us stay with them, and then we ended up staying with a friend of ours for about a month, and I had to move quick because I didn't want to be up in people's space. And that's how it is when you're in the struggle. And even though I got a job and everything, the cost of living is so unreal out here. It's so high and so pervasive that even your good job can barely meet the cost of moving and deposits and rent and all of that. So I went on Craigslist. I found this little apartment in Berkeley. I work in Berkeley. My kids go to school in Berkeley. So we was like, let's take this little apartment. And the bottom line of it is that me and the kids, we got very sick in Holly Street. Hydrogen sulfide gas poisoning, toilet sewage break. The plumber came over, he dug a hole on the side of the house, and the whole Y unit of the main sewage was separated from the house, and a 3-foot swimming pool of poo-poo and all that waste came up. And it was just like black water, black mud, all of it. It'd been there for years. And so we got really sick. We moved in, we moved out, we were evacuating. Everything we owned smelled like sewage, everything. My mouth, my body, the inside of my belly button, everything. I smelled like a walking sewer monster. My kids smelled like sewage. Everybody was getting infections. It was crazy. It was just absolutely insane. So we went into this place in Berkeley, and when we moved into it, it was very chemical smelling. And I remember it even made me sick. Like the first time when we went there, I remember sleeping there the first night, and it was like somebody just threw a bottle of bleach in that place. And I was like, maybe it's the new floor they put down in it, the linoleum floor. Maybe that's making us sick. And then, as the time went on, the chemical smell kind of went away. But then here comes the winter of 2018 in this place, and all of a sudden the black mold in this place just takes over. Everything is wet. All the furniture that I brought from the other place that I thought I cleaned came alive with the sewage pathogens. I had to get everything out of that house. I lost like probably 70% of my stuff. I lost some antique furniture of my grandmother's. I just lost like a lot of stuff, but most importantly, our health was impacted horribly. The property management there wouldn't relocate us, even though they have units throughout Oakland and Berkeley and Emeryville. They wouldn't relocate us. They wouldn't talk to us. We ended up getting help with homefulness, getting Airbnb. We lived in Airbnb for about close to a month, and then we lived with some friends in San Francisco for a week, and then for another 3 weeks. We were almost homeless for 2 months. We were in San Francisco staying with a friend, community member of Poor Magazine. So with that said, a lot of doctor visits, a lot of sickness, a lot of asthma. My 18-year-old daughter, her heart started to work weird. Our stomachs were twisted up because mold and things like that attacks your intestines. We became very sick. I mean, we were really, really sick. And in the first house, I actually lost like 20 pounds because I couldn't eat because I was being literally poisoned to death. So the bottom line of it is that these scam lords and these landlords, they take absolutely no accountability for substandard conditions that they allow our communities to live in. And even though I have a job and everything, my income barely matches the cost of living in the Bay Area because it's like that. It's that high. And if I lose my job, I'm houseless. I'm definitely houseless. So everything is just on the edge of a cliff. And with that said, I just want to say, landlords and scam lords, corporate property manglers, property management companies are to blame. They protect slumlords. They are the protectors and the gatekeepers of these people. They allow them to practice poor practices on upkeep on properties. I did have the city come out and inspect it, and the inspector said, "Oh, I know this place very well. I've been out here many, many times. They really should just condemn the place. They had a roof leak years ago. The roof leaked, got in the walls. They put a new roof on, but they left the walls soggy. And so the downstairs apartment smelled worse than my apartment in Berkeley. And the people that live down there, they smell real bad, like a mushroom, like mold. And both parents died in that apartment from lung cancer. The upstairs unit, the elder there, died of lung cancer there too. So it's a little coincidental that 3 elderly people that lived in that place for over 10 years died from lung cancer. And so as of now, and it is now July 2019, we vacated out of there in January 24th, 2019, when we couldn't breathe anymore. There's still nobody living in it. So that tells me that the place is really not habitable. And you know what's so weird? You look at these apartments when you go in there, and they look nice. The floors look nice. The cabinets look nice. The paint looks fresh. Everything looks clean. Everything looks doable. But you don't know what's inside those walls. You don't know what's infrastructurally speaking, what kind of toxins, poisons, pathogens, all kind of weird stuff that's in there. And families like me who put good faith and hope that these property manglers or property owners or whatnot are going to do right by us, because none of these places is under $2,000 a month. Okay, they were all $2,000 plus a month. The last one I moved out of was $2,050. The one before that was $2,230 a month. Man. So, these are the things that we are paying in rent in the Bay Area, to be poisoned, to be sickened, to actually have our health drawn down. These are the atrocities that scam lords and property manglers and these corporate killer big property conglomerates like Wayfair, Invitation Home, who are connected to Trump. I'm talking $11 billion entity, are committing on our communities and getting away with it because it is a hard thing to go through and a hell experience to legally fight. Well, I'm going to keep it real. I'm fighting them all right now. I'm fighting one in small claims, and I'm fighting the other one with a tort attorney. Because you know what? We have suffered. Our communities have suffered. And we got to fight back, and we got to put this on blast, and we got to let the world know that we are not going to tolerate unhealthy, unstable, and inhabitable living conditions in our communities. We are the community, and we have the right to live in a healthy environment. This ain't happening to our children and our families, and these scam lords, they're taking away literally our lives and the lives of our children. So I just want to say out there that we're going to stand in solidarity. That's going to be on January 29th. What's the time on that, Tiny?
July 29th.
Yeah, July 29th at
5:30.
5:30 p.m. And we're thinking we may convene at the Oakland City Hall because we got 3 cases, 3 families, like myself that are, have experienced very bad situations. This year I didn't even get to go on a vacation because I had to use all my money to catch up my bills, because every time you have to move, you got to pay moving costs. My moving costs alone to get out of Berkeley to go where I'm at now cost me $900 out of pocket. That's just that one situation. I lost a lot of furniture. It's just a lot going on for families. So if folks can come through and definitely stand in solidarity, I would really and we would really appreciate that. Peace.
I just want to be clear too. First of all, you listen to Poor People's Revolutionary Radio 96.1 FM. That's poor folks. One of the things though, people hear these numbers that Viv's talking about, you might think, oh, that's a lot of money. Actually, in the Bay Area, for literally a closet, people are paying $1,500 to $1,800.
Yep.
Literally all of Viv's paycheck in her,
A whole
measly,
paycheck goes to
the
rent.
measly county job she got to try to raise, city job to try to raise her and her kids and take care of stuff.
Temp job too.
Is going
City job.
Right.
City temp job.
goes to
Yeah.
that rent. And so I want to also lift up the whole lie of rent itself.
Yes.
Because one of the things we
Yes.
do in here at Homefulness, that people don't know, is we unselling Mama Earth, spiritually and legally. We don't saying that for fun. Nobody pays rent here. We pay a contribution to the PG&E, to the water, to the garbage, to the internet, and to the taxes. Guess what? Rent is a lie. It's people making money off of
Yes.
Mama Earth, and
Yes.
no one owns Mama Earth.
Yep.
And in this time, when you got houseless families on the street, like most of our folks right now,
Can't
shout
see.
out to all of the cats down on outside of Home Depot are facing a removal tomorrow morning at 7:30. Another shout out about that action. You got to understand that this is a war on the poor.
Yes.
And it is an extremely violent war, because if you barely holding it together, Viv works 8 to 12 hours a day, and then she's going to shell out her entire paycheck. Basically,
Yes.
she has no money left over to
None.
take care of herself.
I live on about
So-
$600 a month.
Right.
In
And
the
I
Bay Area.
and this, the crazy part is, she paid all that to get killed. And I want to bring up that before we moved to Homefulness, me and my family ended up literally getting mold poisoning.
Yes.
And ended up in the hospital and ended up basically having to be on the street again because there was no way we could survive. So bringing up these background issues are really important. We got to close out. We at the end of tonight, but please, July 29th, check on FaceCrack. The location to be announced, it's going to be at 5:30 p.m., including Auntie Frances Moore, including Vivi T, and including Mama Shireen and Diamond Thomas and Princess Beverly, who's also being threatened with eviction. And all y'all, rest of y'all who are dealing with these scam lords, please hit us up. I'm a revolutionary lawyer outside of jail without a degree. I can help you a lot more than those fake-ass attorneys. Poormag@gmail.com. We out. PNN KEXU. That's it.